Hey everyone, this is the video review for today's trades, November 13th, 2020. I'll be going over 7 trades today. I am also going to be going over 1, 2, 3, 4 missed trades. I'm going to be touching up on those, explaining kind of where was the entry, where I could have entered, where I could have placed my stops, and how they could have played out as well. These were all trades that I noticed in real time, not from me rewatching the tape. One thing I have noticed is I haven't really been watching tape of my trading when outside of doing my written review. As you can see here, outside of doing my written review, I just look at the exact trades. I don't really look in between them to see where else I could have missed a trade and so on. If I noticed a possible missed trade during the actual session, I'll write it down and then I'll take a look at it later on. Just wanted to make note of that. I just thought it was interesting. But let's start with the first trade. The first trade is actually a missed trade. Actually, I'll go over the day. It was a great day. Last night I told myself I want to wake up tomorrow and I want to finish the day feeling proud of myself. I want to be proud that I followed my plan. I did better than the day before. I did better than Thursday. I did better than Wednesday. I wanted to feel like I'm improving because I felt like I wasn't. And today I achieved that. I really focused up, got patient, and waited for good setups, and didn't just take any sign of a trade. I waited till preferably I waited till all the criteria in my plan were there. There were a couple trades where I didn't wait until all the criteria for my strategy showed itself, and obviously I did grade those lower. But a lot of the trades today I graded quite well, and I'm very proud of myself for the trades I did make that have a high grade. But I definitely need to work on pulling the trigger. I know I hesitate when I pull the trigger. I can definitely say that there's these missed trades. Had I pulled the trigger and didn't hesitate, I could have gotten these trades, and as well as some of the trades that I did make because I hesitated pulling the trigger. I missed a good entry. I missed a good price for entry, and another thing I need to work on is making sure I not afraid of losing on a trade. I need to start thinking rather than like, I don't want to lose. It's, what, how much am I willing to pay, or how much am I willing to have as a cost to see if this trade occurs? So if I'm willing to, if let's say the trade is showing me, like, for example, let's just watch it. Let's just go here for a second, just any spot. So let's say we're here, right, and my criteria is showing up for a trade, and let's say my risk is right at the 54.75. That's where I put my stop. I need to realize, am I willing to pay 3 ticks to see potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tick move? Yes, 6 tick move, maybe 5, 4 to 6 tick move. Am I willing to pay 3 ticks to find that out? And that's how I should be thinking of it, rather than, I don't want my stop to hit because I don't want to lose. I don't want to be wrong, and that's misguided thinking. And I'm definitely gonna keep that in mind going forward, and when I do make these trades, I'm gonna wait till my plan criteria shows itself. I'm gonna set the stop to what it is, to according to the plan. and then peel if it goes my way, and if it doesn't, well, so be it. I followed the plan exactly. So long as I followed the plan exactly, it's a good trade. Winner or loser, it's a good trade. If I follow the plan to the T, it's a good trade, and that's how I should be thinking rather than if it wins, it's a good trade. If it doesn't win, it's not a good trade. Or I don't want it. I don't want to lose because I don't want to be wrong, or I just don't want to lose because all this, So the goal is, if the plan's criteria of a trade occurs and I act upon it flawlessly, no matter what the result is, it's a good trade. The process over the outcome. I just want to get that out as I talk about the day and things I noticed today. But let's start with the first trade. The first trade's actually a missed trade. It was at 632. I skipped a little forward, but 632. I did set up my clock. I don't know if you guys can see down here. Set up my clock so it shows the seconds, so it's easier for me to find my trades. So we're going to, it's right about here, I believe. I wrote it down. Buyers were trying to refresh the bid at 56.50, denying price to trade lower. Okay, so this is mid-trade because buyers were trying to refresh the bid, but sellers would keep it very aggressively. Just gotta reread this so I can double check what I mean by this mistrade. So I believe it happened right around here. Okay. So we see just common trading, and we start to see some bids being absorbed. So 56.50 is starting to get absorbed. Right. Well, 56.75, not much trading at the offer. Again, 61 stays at the offer, bid breaks, bid goes offer. Alright, trade back up, goes back down, 56.50 back to offer. Now, we're starting to see some slowdown in the buying at 56.50, and we're starting to see some pickup in the selling, 56.25. Then no more buying, selling, breaks the bid, 56.25 now goes offer. This should have been the entry right here. Let me double check I have that written down. So those are the bids without the other break off. Yep, reason. Once it reached lower, sells it There should have been buyers would not lift the offer at 56.75 while sellers would aggressively hit the bid and break it. It took down enough sellers will offer lower and fresh the offer, denying buyers and back to the price pair. Yeah, so right here, where's where I should have entered, because we see sellers offering lower and not letting buyers at 50. Sellers are now putting their offers at 56.50 and not letting buyers trade higher, not letting buyers break that point. So, then slowing happens, it's absorbing a little more, sellers break the bid, and that's the entry right there. That should have been the entry with a stop at, my stop would have been 57 even. I mean, I had it hovering over 2 in the middle of the trade, but yeah, let me double check. There should have been a short entry with a stop. With a stop 2 ticks away at 56.75. Okay, so the stop at 56.75 I put in the trade notes. That is a volume stop. So if 56.75 went bid, I'd be traded out of it. But I probably would have peeled one as we reach the 55.75s. NQ's now trading lower. Maybe peeled one more here after seeing sellers not really hit the bid as aggressively as before. Maybe once when I start seeing this, peel the last one, and then cover the position. And keeps trading higher. So that was the mistrade of the first, that was the first mistrade, I'd say. This would have given me a great risk reward as we were so far down from the low where I would have peeled my first or second trade, entering at 56.25 or even 56 even. Getting out at 55 or 55.25, that would have been a really good, for a stop at 56.75 or 57, that's 3 ticks or 2 ticks for 4 and 5 ticks. That's better 1-to-1 for just the first peel. And then the second peel, if there was a break, it's going to be greater. Third peel could be greater, could be less, and so on. So that was the first missed trade I wanted to make note of. Next one is the 635.16 trade. Let's see. This trade should have been an easy winner. NQ was trading near low. On the ES, the bid at 57 was refreshing, and then the offer at 57.25 was 2. So let's reach that. It's right. So here it is. So right here you see the bid. You see the bid refreshing 193, offer refreshing 124. You see, I did not notice this big offer 57.50 in the middle of the trade. Didn't notice. I noticed it after. Probably could have had a big reasoning towards front running it, but disregarding that because I didn't notice in the trade, I did see refreshing at the 57 even, 57.25 level. The price ticked lower, so price started to tick lower, and buyers immediately lifted the offer and brought it back to the price pair. Then, so as you can see, immediately trades lower, 57 even goes offer back into the price pair. Right, back in. Then this is the trade entry. It's no longer able to just go right back in. Sellers are now offering lower, denying buyers from taking up that lack of liquidity as price trades lower, bringing it back into that price pair. So that would have been the entry. Right there with a stop at 57.50 or 57.25 being a volume stop. I don't think I would have placed it at 57.25. I think it would be a better idea to place it at 57.50 because of the size traded at 57.25. If there was more refreshing here, I could have been stopped out while it was being refreshed. Compared to 57.50, if that goes bid, or if that breaks and that goes bid, the trade's gone. The premise of the trade is they're holding 57.25s from going higher. So the premise of the trade would be gone if it was at 57.50. So sellers would try and refresh the offer. Let's see. Then sellers started to go offer lower and refresh the new offer at 57 even, as we saw there. Price again ticked lower, and now sellers were again offering lower at 56.50. So we'll watch that happen right here. So again, trading back up to the 57.25s. 56.50 into 56.75 are now the new kind of 57.25 pair. And then you see some, absorption 56.50, absorption 56.75. But interesting thing here is when we trade down into this price pair, buyers aren't able to push it higher compared to where sellers are pushing it lower and the buyers buy it back up. Push it lower, buy it back up. Where buyers aren't able to push it higher and sellers bring it back down. They're just not able to do that in general. So another entry on this was seeing that and seeing now 56.50 hold and them not being able to push it back up. That would have been another entry. NQ's now, as you can see, trading lower. Peel one right here. NQ no longer trading lower. Peel another one after you see some absorption at the bid. So you peel the second one, you have a runner position now, NQ now trading back lower. And you just kind of let it ride until you start seeing the change in direction. Still see some movement here, still see some more selling here, but now you start seeing some bids hold. And then until we start seeing more contracts traded at the offer than at the bid, that's when we would start to change our direction. As you can see, I did place a trade. So right around there, that's where I'd cover. This is the missed trade I'm not going to go over that trade that I've just made just yet, but still going on, still talking about the missed trade. I don't know. I honestly don't think I would have held for that whole move. Highly doubt it. This is my 5th day trading. I highly doubt I'm skilled enough to hold for the whole move. But it's something I noticed, and I thought it was interesting because of it was missed, but I did notice it right there. As you can see, I'm writing it out. Missed trade. Missed trade 635. That's on my notes. And I just wanted to talk about the missed trade just so I can have a better understanding of what's happening. And verbally, you speak it out and really, instead of just talking to myself, might as well record it. But let's go on to that trade that just happened. So you can see another entry point here with 167 being the bid. Buyers trying to step it up. 5, they're not doing as well. So this could have been the entry here. Another entry here with a stop. Let's see. Let's watch it one more time so I can determine the stop. So 54.25. A lot of contracts trading 56.25. Buyers trying to hold it. You have 154 trading at 54.50, and then 5 trading at 54.75, compared to 35 breaking the 54.50s, 306 in the 54.25s, and right after it did trade the 5 in the 54.75s, you can see that on this move up too, sellers are still hitting the bid. But when it hits that 5, it breaks this, and right back down to 54 and 41. 184 added into 54.25s immediately. So sellers immediately step down, not letting buyers back up into those prices. Another entry right there, 54, stop, possibly 54.75. Another entry right there. You could have entered a little earlier based on the break of this you could have probably gone in after the break here again with a stop maybe above at 55. This one I don't like the entry as much compared to if you waited a little bit for after it traded up, traded the 5 back down, sellers offered lower and wouldn't let price back up. This right here would be a better entry and keep trading lower. So I see the 313s. I'm going on to trade 1 now. So I see the 313s trade 53.50s, 135 trades higher, but then I still see more selling come in even as we trade higher, and I get short after that break into the 53.75s. Sorry, I had a quick call. Let's see here. Tried out a function on the recording software to pause it. Back to where I was talking about. So the 352s now, the 53.50s now broke. After holding for so long, and then I immediately got short. This was, just a bad trade. I mean, right off the bat, you can see 16 trading into 53.25s, 53.50s. 35 trading there. That should have given me inclination that, sellers aren't willing to trade at these prices. Buyers are. Buyers broke the offer twice, going higher a little. And that should have just told me to get flat. If sellers aren't willing to trade, if sellers are hitting the bid 53, taking the bid here, but aren't willing to take the bid at 53.25 with as much volume, I mean, it speaks just saying, there's no sellers here. No one wants to sell here. While buyers are willing to buy at 53.50 it being offer. And obviously they wanted to buy even higher. They bought higher at the 53.75s, 54s, and kept going higher. While sellers just didn't want to sell anymore. You can see the change too with even here they stopped selling, and there was buying here, and as you reach this price pair, more buying than there was selling, and selling here, but buyers still were able to break the offer on low volume. I mean, right there, getting out should have been the play. And also the stop I had, completely wrong. I mean, the stop I noted was filthy. The stop is for this entry, not for this entry. This entry would have had a stop right here, not a stop at the 54.25s. It wasn't even that wasn't even a real stop. You know, for this entry, the stop would have been at the 55s, 54.75s, not the freaking entry. So this was a very sloppy trade. It was the worst trade of the day, and it just so happened to be the first one. And I'm surprised I was able to come back and focus on the plan even after making such a horrible trade, which is an improvement, definitely improvement. But overall, this trade, the stop was filthy. Entry was off. No premise to the trade at all. And if there were, then the stop would be far closer than what it was, obviously. It was also a fear missing out trade, where I was worried of getting in at the bottom on that missed trade, at the 635 missed trade earlier, and have a reverse on me. So I didn't get in earlier. But then when I did get in, well, look what happened. The exact thing I was afraid of happening. So that should tell me, don't be afraid of, selling at the bottom and buying at the top. As long as I follow the plan and let the plan work itself out, if the plan shows over time that it doesn't have an edge doing that, then we fix the plan. But if I keep overriding it and changing it and not trading according to the plan, then how do I know the plan works or not? A variable that's bouncing back and forth. There's no control over it, and how I can't objectively define whether this plan works or not if I'm not trading it. That was trade one. Let's get on to trade number two. So let me pull up my positions where trade number two occurred. Trade number 2, 637.35. Okay, let's watch it from here. And we'll see the action. Get long there. Fuel. All right. So that was that trade. Let's go back to the beginning where I entered. So the trade entry was good. I waited to see if the offer would break at 58.0, and it did. So we'll watch it. We'll watch here. So you see the absorption occur at the 58.0. You see 57.75. Absorb it. See price trade higher. Bid holds, and then you see the absorption at 58 even. You don't see as much selling at the 57.75s. Bid still refreshing here as well, but it's not trading lower where compared to 58. Evens are breaking higher, and sellers have to push it down back into that price pair. So it gave me the confirmation that, I should get into this trade, was when the bids held at 58 even. Bids immediately got refreshed and it held, and then boom, that order came in. When I saw that, I thought I need to get long. So I immediately get long, and I put my stop at 57.25s. Now, the stop placement, I don't think it was correct. My stop for this trade should have been 57.75 because that was the premise of the trade. The premise of the trade was the 58 evens breaking, right? So if the 58 evens broke, and the bid held, which it did, and after I saw this large order, it came in. That's when I got long. If the 57.75 turned offer, and seller started to break the 58 bid that held, and then break the 57.75 bid, which also held, well, the trade premise is over, But instead, I placed it at a kind of arbitrary amount. I believe I saw there was none trading here when it was at the bid, 57.25, and that's where I placed my stop. And I hesitated too, you can see my cursor go from 57.50 to 57.25 back to 57.25. So definitely stop should have been 57.75. Even though it did play out into my favor, if it didn't, I would have lost more than had I put my stop at 57.75. Over, if I had hundreds of these trades and 60 of them were losses, 40 of them winners, had I put my stop at 57.75, there'd be a big difference than if my stop was always at 57.25. And that's one of the reasons why this trade wasn't as good as it was, even though the entry was good, the risk reward was good. I wasn't so close to the top where I peel one of my trades, when I peel one of my contracts. So this gives me a good risk, which it should have been 2 ticks for a potential like 4 or 5 ticks, So the break happened, and this is where I accidentally got long an extra contract, so that was an error. Docked some grade points on that. Notice I got long an extra, peeled one here, peeled another. Saw some absorbing here, peeled another. Didn't see as much buying happening. Then I see it coming in, saw the buying, but now I started seeing the absorption and selling start really to change. Sellers started to start getting more control, and buyers started to slow down on their lifting the offer. But the trade did work out in my favor, but I did have that trading error. When I let's see, when I entered the offer to hold, sorry, lack of selling, I was supposed to peel one contract as it reached the high, but I added one. That was the error. I then peeled one after the break, then one more as we started to see price drop with little volume, then one more as it rose back up to its high, then the last contract once I saw the offer being refreshed, 1 tick below the high. So this was the 56.75s, I believe. That's what I meant by the high, 56.75s. Or 60.75s, not, I don't know why I'm saying 56.75s, 60.75s. But the grade was a 3. Didn't give it a perfect score because of that stop placement and the error made in the trade. But overall, this was a solid trade that followed most of the plan. And that's why I give it a 3 out of 4. Trade 3 that I made was an error. I'm just going to go over it lightly. It was 6. It was about to come up, actually. So, meant to go long here. Instead, go short. Notice I go short and hesitate a little and then flatten it. I realize I get in the position, I look at this and I'm wondering how is that possible. I thought I'm long, and I look and I'm like, oh shit, I'm short. It turned out to be a good decision as buying kind of stopped, halted here, but it's an error. I'm not gonna look into the error. I'm not gonna see how it was a good idea or whatever. It's an error, mistake, shouldn't have done it. If I wrote down here, I didn't realize what I had done until a few seconds after where I immediately hit the flatten button. I don't trade errors, and when I make them, I'm not going to form a trade around it. Forming a trade around an error, I think, is just bad trading. that's just you get like it's like picking a price, like pick a price, any price, like pick a card, any card, and then when you see that price, then morphing the price action to that trade, morphing what you're seeing and creating a bias of what you're seeing to favor the trade, to show, oh, the trade's gonna work, or like, oh, it's only gonna go this far, and my stop could go blah blah blah, whatever. I don't think that's just bad trading, in my opinion. I think so. So the next two trades I'll be going over are missed trades. So I'll be going over missed trade number 3. This was at 64.808. So the interesting here is I did last a lot longer than I usually do these past 3 days. I think I went, I didn't hit my quit target or my max loss for the whole day. I went through the whole day till 8:30. That's when I cut it off, and that's when I started seeing not too much price breakouts. There was a price breakout later. As I left, I noticed price was trading near the high, and then I checked it again, and price did break out eventually. But I wasn't available to trade. But we'll go to this missed trade here. We'll just watch it kind of play out real quick. So the pop, NQ's nowhere near its highs, so don't really expect it to go much higher. But that's pretty much that missed trade, and the reason why it was a missed trade is because offer was holding at 61.25. We'll watch that right here. So we'll see. I believe it's right here. So offer was holding at 61.25. Where does it happen? Okay, so yeah, it's right here. So offer's holding 61.25s, trades down, and then now the bid comes in, steps higher, and holds the 61.25s now. Sellers kept refreshing it. Anytime price ticked higher, they would hit the bid fast enough to take advantage of the lack of liquidity there and bring it back down. Issue here was sellers were hitting the bid at 61. So this whole time, buyers are lifting the offer, and then they have to trade. Sellers have to trade down, lift the offer, then sellers would have to trade down. But at the same time, sellers aren't really wanting to sell at 61. They're having to sell at 61.25 because buyers are pushing it higher. And that gave me inclination that if sellers aren't willing to trade at 61 and buyers are willing to trade at 61.25 and also bid higher 61.25, that's a good sign that they're willing to price could trade higher. If buyers are willing to trade higher, buyers could keep trading higher. I saw this, and then I saw an entry at 61.25, as we see here. So as soon as this kind of holds, 61.25, probably would have gotten filled at 61.50, not really 60.25s. I saw 61.25 going bid, holding, buyers not stepping up, buying at 61.50. This was the entry with a stop at 61 going offer, because sellers weren't willing to hit the bid at 61. So if 61 went offer, the premise of the trade was gone, because the idea that sellers weren't willing to trade lower here, and they weren't able to break here, the refreshing. So if they're able to break there, premise of the trade gone. So that's where I would have my stop. 61 going offer, 60.75 if it was a regular stop. Would have slightly been less than 1-to-1 risk reward, because I was trading near the high and my first peel is at the high. But then it did have a nice pop occurring, throwing price into the high 62s and the 63 as the high. This would have been the second peel when I saw the bid stepping lower with a little volume and the offer being refreshed and buying slow down. This would have been the cover. Would have been a nice trade, since it follows almost all my plan except for NQ not trading near its high. So NQ was not trading near its high as shown in the DOM. Could have been a good fade trade after seeing the pop, not seeing NQ trade higher, and then seeing the shift from the longs to the shorts at that top. Could have been a good fade trade. I plan on incorporating fade trades once when I can consistently follow my current plan. Once when I can consistently follow the plan I'm on, I will add more plans. And then once when I can consistently follow that, add more until I can come up with a good playbook of, for my trading. Missed trade number 4 we'll go to now. I don't want to make this video an hour and a half long. So I'm trying to speed it up, but also do the necessary review that's needed. I'm not just gonna say, oh yeah, this was the trade, and this was the exit, this was the profit, next trade. No, I want to review each trade, how it worked, why it worked, the premise, the stop, what was wrong. That's the goal of this. So people can also, any new members can also view this and see this, like, oh, this is what he did in the beginning stages, and how he started out reviewing, and what maybe I should be doing. But we'll go to missed trade number 4 now. It occurs with the 61.25. So at 61.25, bids were being broken, but when it would break, sellers wouldn't offer lower, and price would return quite quickly. So 61.25 would break, but sellers weren't willing to offer lower, nor were they willing to sell at 61 even when it was bid. So, it wasn't that like it was just quick. They had a little bit, there was some time, and that little, maybe half a second time is a lifetime for high frequency trading. I mean, it's like literally a light year. So the fact that there was no trades occurring at all at 61 even, and there was like a light year, because they're trading in microseconds. So if all the microseconds that happened within that half second, and there was no trades at 61 even, I mean, they had the time to sell, and they weren't selling. They weren't hitting the bid. So with that occurring at the offer 61.50, buyers were lifting the offer regularly, and it took out more of the sellers to bring it back down to the price pair compared to buyers bringing it back up. So we'll watch that back up. So you could see that sellers were trying to bring it down, and now they're having a hard time really pushing lower. They got the absorption back here at the 61.25s. They're pushing it back up. It takes some more effort, and now buyers start to step up and put their bids higher. And as you can see, the offer starts to break too at the 61.75. So now they're selling, and the buyers starting to step up, and they step up with their bid, and they step up, lift the offer, and trades higher. When it ticked up and 61.50 was now the bid, it started to hold, and buyers were now trading at the new offer 61.75 with good comparative size, compared to current contracts traded. This would have been the entry when the bid started to hold, with a stop at 61. So the upside on this trade was a peel at the top, then stalling at the top, so another peel, and then a cover of the final contract around the entry as price started to trade back to the entry. This wouldn't have been a perfect trade also because NQ was not showing its high on the DOM, meaning it's not trading near the high with no intent of higher prices on the NASDAQ futures index. We're going to watch it one more time to re-explain what I'm going through. So 61.50 starts to hold, buyers start to buy with comparative size. As soon as I kind of see that buying step up, hit with a stop at 61 because of the 61.25s being that price to hold, that holding where in 61 no sellers sold, so that would be the stop. 61.75 would be the entry, or 62. That would be 4 points, maybe 3 points, a little less than 1-1. If I got it filled at 62 even, 61.75 would be a little bit over 1-1. But still, would have been a good trade, with the plan. Just a little not favorable risk reward. So that's the missed trade. That was all the missed trades for the day. Now we're going on to the actual trade. So we'll go trade number 4. Trade number 4 entered 7:01. This is a long trade. Actually, this is not a long trade. I mean, it took a while in the day for me to enter this trade, which is unusual. Usually I'm stopped out within 14 minutes or I'm at my quit target. But let's watch this trade occur real quick and then I'll go over it. Okay. So obviously the entry, I mean, I don't know how to make it more clear. The huge absorption at 61 was the idea of the entry. Huge absorption at 61 occurring. The ability for buyers to break the offer quite easily at 61.25. Show me the strength that sellers weren't willing to refresh it as heavily as 61. But here's the thing about this trade. As soon as I get in, you can see right here, 177 trading at the offer. It's not breaking. 21 trading at the bid. Keep watching the offer. 97 trades at the bid, breaks it. 179 trades at the offer, it still won't break. I mean, there's absorption happening at 61.50. Then we start seeing buyers just not stepping up the way they would if they like this price pair of 61.25 bid, 61.50 offer. They're not stepping up and taking that offer. And sellers start increasingly hit the bid more and more, and with more size, NQ trades lower, and boom, breaks the bid, shoots right through my stop, and gets me filled at 60.25, not 60.75. I mean, the stop makes sense. 61, there was a lot of absorption, so anything below there shouldn't trade. One thing I should have made note of was the fact that since there was a lot of absorption and there wasn't a lot of contracts traded at 61, there's a good chance that it could break the way it did with multiple price levels breaking. And I should have took that into account, which I obviously didn't, because I just thought, it'd break and then it would go it would go down 1, not go down 3. But with the amount of volume coming into that 61 price level, it obviously makes sense why there could be a lot of contracts being traded here, and then all of a sudden, a big order that 60 might just clear the next two price levels. I gave this one a 2.5 grade because it was a little better than an okay trade. NQ was nowhere near in confirming a break upwards as it was trading lower. Could have given me a sign that something is up, which I didn't take, obviously. And I also didn't take the obvious lack of wanting to buy higher above the 60 at 61.50. Also could have given a good fade trade, seeing NQ trade so low and seeing that, or trade lower, I should say, and seeing that lack of wanting to buy and the seller starting to pick back up 61.50, lack of buying at 61.50, and the seller starting to pick it back up, hitting the bid at 61.25. So again, I constantly think about these fade trades and think about these things just in case, because it just seems interesting in one of the plays I'd like to add to my playbook eventually. It was a good entry though. I'm not going to deny it. I mean, it was a clear as day. I mean, bid being refreshed, bid absorption kind of trade. And good stop point. It was a good stop point at the time, but now that I realize that the amount of volume that needed to break that absorption price level at 61s is quite high, and if there was a market maker pulling and there was an order coming in, with 90 contracts, it could break, those prices. It could break 60, 75, 60, 50, and obviously did, and I got filled at 60, 25. Next trade we're gonna go to is trade number 5. So trade number 5, 717.44. So let's watch this. Let's watch this play out, and then I'll narrate it. Alright. So this trade, again, NQ is nowhere near its lows, and NQ is now near its lows, as we'll see in a second here. So yeah, now it's near its lows. ES is now has followed. There was a bid being refreshed at 53.50, and we'll see it here. 53.50, the bid being refreshed, and then buyers immediately step up, lift the offer as soon as 53.50 goes offer. But also at 53.75, the offer was being refreshed. Sellers were hitting the bid more aggressive, bringing the price lower, and then the offer stepped down as well, giving a good ceiling at 53.50. And we'll see that occur right now. So boom, offers step lower, giving a good ceiling at 53.50. This could have been the entry point after seeing the bid 53.50 no longer breaking, and then now offers coming in and holding that 53.50 as a ceiling. So it could have been a good stop at 53.75. That would have been a good entry. 53.25. We'll see how it plays out. Obviously, I get in at 53, even, not 53.25. And the big thing is I get in after what could have been the full move. So I get in, it breaks down. You'll see it here, pops down, and then goes back up. Goes back up to the 53 bid, 53.25 offer. And the problem with this is, that 1 to 2 ticks that I pushed down could have been the whole move. And by what I can remember from this trade, is that when I placed my stop, it wasn't a planned stop that I had in my mind on putting the trade. It was another one of those things where I see no volume being traded when 54s was the offer, so that's where I'm gonna put my stop. That's again terrible trading, and that's why this trade got a grade of 1. But terrible trading. If I were to do it over again, I think my stop would definitely be it would still probably be the 54s, but my entry would definitely been the 53.25s, not 53. And it's me placing it at the 54 was not for the right reasons. It was just simply because I saw an empty box. I didn't see any trades at the offer when this was the offer. So the reason why I would have it my stop now after reviewing it is because of seeing the offer refreshed here, and once when it started trading lower at the 53.25s, that if it's able to break two offers, then my trade's the premise is gone. The buyers are back in control, sellers aren't willing to hold it. I don't want that trade. So 54 would have been my stop, but it would have been for obviously different reasons. Again, I give this trade a grade 1. It was a poor trade because it was a chase of the move, an incorrect reasoning for the entry, and a misguided stop placement. I chased the move as the pace of the tape started to speed up as we traded lower. I really didn't have a reason for getting in at 53. I pretty much got in because it just traded lower, and I thought, oh shit, here's the break. And I just saw the high volume come in above me, and I thought, oh, there's volume being transacted here, and there's, it's being refreshed, absorbed, and now the bids are broken, and, it just doesn't make, the trade was just, bad, and me getting in at 53s, the move could have already been gone by now, and this second entry with nothing to back it other than the previous premise of the original trade could have been false. the fact that I placed my stop at 54 was for a certain premise of the trade, and the trade I entered at 53 even was just a chase trade. It was a bad trade. Also, the stop was also not placed ahead of the trade, but instead was placed because of the lack of buying when it was the offer. I think I explained that, but I'm just reading my notes here. You can find all the notes on the blog post I'll be posting below this video review in my journal. So again, grade 1, we'll go on to trade number 6 here. So now we're starting to get into the actual good trade. So trade number 6 is my highest grade trade of the day. It is not my biggest winner either, but I will explain why I graded this the highest in a moment. Let's go all the way. It was at 756.05. Alright, let's watch this. Let's just watch it play out, and then I will explain it. Alright, just FYI, because I saw that I placed my stop and then cleared it and placed my stop. I did that because I was meaning to clear that resting order I had in the bid, and I just pulled all my orders. That's why all the stops got removed. Just FYI, I just wanted to make a note of that. But let's go back to the entry and let's explain the reasoning behind this trade. So we see price start tick lower, NQ also trade lower, 159 at the bid breaks. I'll rewatch that. So 159 is being traded at the bid's getting absorbed and refreshed. So here, bid breaks, see buyers starting to come up, lift the offer. And we'll watch it closely. Alright, so here bid breaks. Buyers start coming in, buying, lifting the offer, but the offer won't go bid. The offer won't go bid anymore, so I know there's refreshing. And once when I see that, I immediately just decide to go short after I start seeing some more selling in the 52 evens. So we'll see this happen. Boom, start seeing that selling 52 evens. I mean, that I don't even know how I did such a good quick pull of the trigger entry. I mean, that surprises me, even rewatching it for the 5th time now. But I saw the bid again. I saw the bid holdings at 52.25. Then when I dropped one offer, I immediately started to see traders sell at the new bid at 52. Got short there with what seemed to be a hesitant stop placement at 52.75. So the reason my stop placement was at 52.75, let's see. So the reason why it was 52.75 is because you'll see here 68 traded there, but it wouldn't want to trade higher than the 68, so I wouldn't want to trade higher than 52.50. So my stop would, if it were to trade higher than 52.50, if it were to trade at 52.75 and 52.75 went bid, the premise of the trade's gone. You know, it clearing 3 offers doesn't give me the greatest conviction in a trade going lower. So the stop was clear. The idea of the trade was to think if buyers are willing to buy at 52.50, if they were willing to buy at 52.50 and clear it, then trade at 52.75 and clear that. The buyers are starting to see these low prices as good prices, so I would want to get out. The entry was a quick The entry was quick, which is a plus for me. Again, very surprised on how quick I entered that. And then I saw buyers are slowing and can't clear that offer that was held as the bid. So we're watching again the 5250s. They weren't able to clear it as an offer after it was sorry, the 5225s. So yeah, the 5225s were being held as a bid, but once when it went offer, they weren't able to clear it. So we'll watch it one more time. This will be the last time. I just want to make note of that one more time. So boom, they're not able to clear it. Immediately get short. I mean, that was a great entry, even though that the outcome didn't give the outcome didn't. I didn't get the best profit out of this, but I'm more proud of the fact that this trade followed my plan, almost to a T. You can see I peeled one as I started to see right here buyers kind of step up and lift the offer. I left my order in accidentally, so then I only had one contract left. I had to put in my stop again. Then I start seeing slowing on the selling, 5150s, and more buying at 5175. So cover the trade. I wrote a note on here. The second contract should have been for the break or when price was showing there was not much opportunity for a break, and then see more buyers. So here I see more buyers willing to step up and buy at the offer of 5175. This coupled with when 5125 would be bid, and there would be very little sellers letting the bid, while buyers would bring price back to the price pair 5150, 5175. So you'll see this. 252 trading at 5150, 2 trading 5125. I mean that just shows not much willingness to trade at that level. I mean, here you have it here again, 8 contracts into 5125, 12 contracts to break the offer, or for the offer to go back to bid. That just shows me, no. I mean, if there's not much, 228 trading here and only 29 trading here, and 33 to break the offer, and the offer's not willing to step down, no, I don't think it's going to go lower. But I gave this trade a 3.75 out of 4 because the entry was good. It was fast and no hesitation, and I'm very surprised at myself on that one. The trade itself occurred in a spot in time where I haven't traded before at all this week, 7:56, which is interesting. This said I was getting the skill of patience because I would usually be out by 14 minutes max. 15 minutes max, I'd be out. Either quit target hit or stop target hit. So it was good on me on this one. The stop was good. It was solid stop, made sense, clear stop, part of the premise of the trade. The only thing that didn't make this a perfect trade is because I did leave in my order to buy back one of those contracts. Had I pulled that, I could have gotten maybe a better price to peel one. But this is I'm nitpicking on this trade. I don't want to give it a perfect one because the perfect one really I think deserves to be perfect. No errors, no mistakes. So I did give it 3.75. But I mean, it was a great trade, and I'm most proud of this specific trade. Definitely, I think I'm definitely going to come back this weekend and record this specific trade, because of how proud of it and how well and well stuck to the plan I was on this trade, and I'd like to review it over time to show what a good structured trade is according to the intra breakout plan. Last and final trade here before I go over the hour mark, which I'm about to hit. Last and final trade. We are at 7:56. So this is just a couple, less than a minute after this trade occurred. So let's watch it and then I'll narrate it. So yeah, it's just a minute after the best trade that I had occurred, and I saw another point for entry. Alright, so unfortunately that was the whole trade. Obviously I forgot to put my clip size to 3. Huge mistake. This could have been a big winner, costed me a lot for just having one. I mean, it not only costed me a lot for just having, for missing the profits, but had I accidentally, not, because I didn't check my clip size before the trade, if my clip size was like 10 or 6 and it happened to go against me, 10, that's 125 a tick, and just 3 ticks and that's my loss limit for the day, so it could have gone very bad because I didn't check my clip size, but we'll go back and I'll talk more about why I entered this trade, and it's really because of this slowdown right here. So we'll go back. So go back to that trade. And we'll see this, we're seeing the slow, just watching this happen. 51.25s, 50.50, 51.50s, not much buying happening here. Ticks up, excuse me. And we see this, right? So we see 82 trading into the bid at 51.50 and 51.75 4 trading into the offer. And you just see it so slow. It's like no one's wanting to buy. No one's wanting to lift the offer at that price. And then sellers immediately step lower. Buyers again aren't having too much conviction at buying at 51.50s. They do break it. Buys start coming in, but then sellers start hitting it harder and breaking the bid. Bid goes offer. Offer holds. Let's go back a little bit longer. So the offer holds. Real quick, we'll let this play out and then I'll show you. So right there, the offer holds. I'm already short. We're seeing the offer holds, giving confirmation, and now I start seeing sellers come in and buyers not come in. Bids break, trade lower, peel once when I see the absorption at 50 evens. Now, one thing I didn't notice, which I thought was very interesting till I wrote out this trade in my trade notes, was just 1 minute ago, less than a minute ago in the last trade, sellers weren't wanting to sell at these prices, and now they were. If I had remembered this really in the trade now, that could have been giving me more conviction for the trade working. So if you look, 1 minute ago at 51.25, you see the difference in what's trading. 29 here, 33. You see more buyers. You see not much selling happening at 51.25, and then you start seeing shifting, right? So in the beginning trade, when we hit this, you don't see much. I have to go down to, where is it? Okay. See, where does the trade begin? Alright, so 45s, 50s, yeah. I'm looking at the 25s and the 50s is selling. So look, you see 10 trading here at 51.25, 50, 150 is a lot of buying at the 51.75s here. Right, and then you go 30 seconds out and you see the amount of buying happening at 51.75 now. And this is right after the trade. So now we cleared it. And look at the amount of buying happening now. I mean, it's such a it's such a huge difference. And it just gets slower and slower and weaker and weaker. Look, 490. We just had 280 trade into this 30 seconds ago. You see 37.7. Still see some more trades coming in, but not the same amount of volume, and definitely not the same amount of selling happening at the bid 30 seconds ago. Definitely not. This wasn't there. So that could have given me a conviction had I stayed in the trade when I entered at 53. This, if I had still that one position on, and let's say I never hit my stop, or in a perfect world, if I saw this, I would have thought, wait a second, what 30 seconds ago, the sellers weren't wanting to hit the bid. Now the bid has to be refreshed, and sellers are breaking the bid, and then they're offering lower and holding it. It could have added to the position, gotten back to the full clip size, and made a pretty large gain. Of course, this is like 2020 hindsight kind of trading, but just wanted to make it, just wanted to point it out. Some notes I made on this one, the buyers were absorbing that the 5150, but that eventually broke, and offers immediately stepped lower to the 5150s, and then it were absorbing the buyers at the price and not letting offer turn back bid. Sellers then hit the bid enough to break it, and then price dropped significantly. Being I had only one contract on, and I didn't notice at the time when I peeled one, I was thinking I was peeling one because of the break, not because I was trying to cover the whole position. If I had to find that the hard way, because I had no position anymore. So I did get out after seeing the bid hold at the 50 evens. But yeah, this had to be the biggest error today, because what it costed me for being negligent. I don't know how to pronounce it, but negligent, and not viewing my my order ticket. I mean, you can see I did change it. I immediately changed it over here because I thought, oh man, I can't have this happening again. I need to see my clip size right before I enter the trade. So I did change it. But I gave that trade a 3. It was a good trade. Entered without hesitation. I was able to get back into the market quickly after just getting out 40 seconds ago, which I thought was good. And I had a clear premise for the trade and a clear stop. The risk reward wasn't great because I was trading at the bottom, and my plan has me, my trading plan has me peel one as we reach near the bottom prices, with also the error coupled in. I did give this, a 3 instead of a 3.5. It was a good trade though overall, with how I follow my process, and this is another trade I'm proud of. Just wished I checked my clip size and really double checked it. The day's grade, that was all the trades. The day's grade was 0.47. Yesterday, I believe, was 0.22. 0.47 is the largest grade so far this week. I didn't grade Monday. I didn't have the idea of doing my grading on Monday, and I think Monday's grades are kind of inflated, to be honest. But today's grade, 0.47, that does include the error trade. And I'm including the error trade because of the fact it was a mistake and it should be reflected on my performance. And if I just brushed it away, the error trades, they don't give them weight. The weight's kind of gone. And there's a good chance I would make them again because I'm not focusing on them. I'm just kind of brushing it off and just not really thinking about it, which is, what I shouldn't be doing. If I'm making an error, I need to fix that error. But overall, this is the best grade out of the past three days of trades. Like I said, very good job for me today. Solid improvement. I just got to keep making these small little improvements day by day, week by week, and they'll all add up eventually into a pretty drastic change from where I am now. And I'm excited to see where that takes me. Tomorrow I'll be adding all my trade stats into the trading platform Edgewonk, and Saturdays I will be using them as my because I can't trade. I'll be using it as a statistical video review where I'll be reviewing all my stats on my trades and seeing, kind of analyzing what I'm doing right, what's wrong, what time of day is bad for me, what kind of if I follow my strategy completely, if I give it a good grade, what's the outcome like? Is it good? If I don't, what's the outcome like? And just testing out other variables like how much sleep do I get? That's one thing I want to keep track of. But I'll be doing that on Saturdays, and then Sundays I'll be going over. Just I'll be rewatching and re-looking at my trade notes and video reviews and seeing if anything, like the big trade of the week, I guess you could say, and just rewatching, relearning, and constantly improving. That's the goal. Thank you guys for watching. I don't expect anyone to reach this point. I can't imagine anyone actually watching an hour and 10 minutes of me rambling about my trades. But if you do reach this point, thank you for watching. I hope this helped you in your own trading, and I hope you keep watching and you keep improving too. Alright, see you guys tomorrow. Peace.